Welcome back to the Go to Go podcast, man. Episode 68, week 14 of the NFL season coming right around the corner, man. A little under the weather, man. Zoom, getting it done via Zoom, man. Don't matter. We getting it done. Quickly recapping week 13 pick'ems. Both of us went 8-5. Still at a standstill, man. 6 games separates me and you. You obviously still in the lead, man. Before we get into week 14, man, why don't you go ahead, start us off with your hot or not?
All right, I got two quick ones for you this week. I'm gonna start you off with one I know you enjoy. All right, hot or not, the Miami Dolphins have the best offense in the league.
I'm gonna say that is, not a hot take. They're definitely up there. Can you say they're the best right now? A little inconsistent at times. You see when Tua, can't get it going early. Sometimes that offense struggles. Getting the ball to Tyree, getting other guys involved sometimes at a standstill. We saw it with the 49ers early on in the year. And then they seem to come back to life, especially this week. And other teams, I mean, there's ups and downs everywhere. The Ravens, they're on a bye, so maybe they're a little forgotten. They were hot. Their defense is leading, but Lamar and that offense is looking nice. But I would go ahead and say the Dolphins offense. I mean, you got Raheem Mostert. He's taking off. A-Chain finally coming back. He's getting healthy again. We know we got, Tyreek Waddle. Those guys on the outside get the job done. So, I mean, Tua's playing at a, really good level. He's in that MVP, conversation. Wouldn't say he's really the MVP right now, but they're definitely up there for the number one offense, man, no doubt.
All right, you brought up the MVP conversation, so I'll go right into my next question. Hot or not, the MVP should not be a quarterback this year.
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say that is a hot take. Now, me personally, I mean, it might be Tyreek Hill, the way he's been playing, 2K yards. Go ahead and say it. Last year, he was kind of in that conversation for the first few weeks. But this is the NFL. Me and I think we've talked about it before. The last person was AP to win it, non QB. It's a quarterback award. I mean, this is definitely the year, Jalen Hurts, he was the favorite. His odds dropped a little. Brock Purdy is now the favorite for
Thought it
MVP. And
was Dak.
it's Brock. And then I saw, it depends what book you go to. I've seen Brock, I've seen Dak. I've seen one where Dak and Brock, or Dak and Jalen both tied at 350 and Brock plus 300. It really depends, but those three guys are up in the conversation. And then you got guys like Tua and then Tyreek slowly behind them. But if Tyreek breaks, 2K yards, beats Megatron's record right now, I mean, this is a season no one at quarterback's really taking a charge and having a tremendous, standout season. They're all having, good seasons. But if Tyreek breaks that 2K yards, I don't see how you can't give it to him. Me personally, but knowing the NFL, I still think they'd rather prefer to give it to a quarterback. So that's just the way they are, man. And that's both your
Those
two,
are my
right?
two.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. So I got two for you as well this week, man. The first one, hot or not, 3 NFC North teams will make the playoffs this year.
That's not a hot take. It could definitely happen, with the way the Lions are playing, they pretty much, I'm not gonna say they got the division wrapped up, but they're looking to lead that division, win the division. They've had a strong season so far. So, easy to give them the one. And then the Vikings and the Packers are right there. The Packers, Jordan Love, that team is really, really starting to come on strong at the right time of the season. We always talk about now is when you want to start playing your best football. And the Green Bay Packers got two very solid wins in a row over Detroit on Thanksgiving, and then they just beat Kansas City at home on Monday night. Jordan Love balling out, those playmakers stepping up, and defense is playing good enough. Sean Gary's been super, super impactful in the front, and they're not even fully healthy. Aaron Jones didn't play the last game. Jair Alexander's still banged up, so you can still see, Maybe we haven't even seen the best of Green Bay yet. And then you got the Vikings coming off of a bye. Justin Jefferson off the IR. I mean, arguably the best, if not the best receiver in the league, is going to boost any offense. I don't care who's at quarterback, even if it is Josh Dobbs. It's going to really, really make a difference. And we've seen Dobbs, have a couple nice wins this year. So he's been able to get it done. I think, listen, the way it's shaped out, you got the NFC South. You don't really want to trust anybody from that division. In the NFC East, I mean, the Eagles and the Cowboys, those two teams are pretty much looking like a lock right now. In the West, I mean, San Francisco, they're looking like the best team in football right now. We'll talk about them. And the Seahawks played a competitive game against Dallas, but, super, super tough schedule coming up. They got the Niners, then the Eagles next week. So it'll definitely be tough for the Seahawks. I think they can be in the mix, but if you want to say three NFC North teams are going to be in there, I mean, I don't like it. I don't hate it at all. I think that Vikings team is going to be the team, to make that third because right now I think the Packers have surpassed them and have been playing really well. So the Vikings can find a way to sneak in. Justin Jefferson back healthy, a couple big plays. I mean, who knows, man? I really think it could happen. So I'm gonna say that's not a hot take.
Yeah, I think the pack right now is sitting at 7. Vikings got the tiebreaker. They're at 6 in that wild card. Um, and then I think the other team, that could sneak in there is the Rams from the West. They're also 6 and
Yeah,
6.
and they
So
got
I
both of
also
the
agree.
games over the Seahawks.
Yeah, I also agree. Seahawks tough schedule. It really comes down to do the Rams make a push? Because I don't think NFC South is gonna have 2 teams. I mean, they can, but less likely for
Should
sure.
find a way to make them have no teams, bro.
No teams. I mean, I really want. I kind of want to see the Bucks, over the Falcons now, but I don't want to see either of them.
I mean, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Just go to overall record, man. Forget the divisions and stuff.
Well, no, you keep the divisions. Just this season, the NFC South.
There's
Just
always
keep it
one
out.
season, the division, any division really sucks. But I mean,
No,
hey,
but some teams are fun. Like, I mean, teams can suck and still be fun.
yeah,
Like if the Bears were in the NFC South, like, come on, bro. Like that team's still fun. Like,
they might,
who knows?
they
Like,
could
bro,
win it.
like Justin Fields might like flip a switch, and now he's like an explosive quarterback. There you go. I mean, there's bad teams that are still fun, but it's just I feel like every team in that division, dog, is just like tough, dog. It's tough.
Uh,
The only good thing in that division is Baker throwing to Mike Evans 40
one
yards
K
down the field.
yard,
That's
bro.
it.
Yes.
It's the only good thing in that division, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, Jameis is in the division, bro. He keeps it entertaining, bro. There's always a little
James,
Jameis
yeah.
post throughout the day, man. No matter what he does.
Yeah, those Michael Thomas tweets that he deleted. You see those?
And what he said, God is with Jameis or something like
Yeah,
that.
he was rooting for Jameis, man.
Yeah,
Can't
I
blame
mean,
him.
get him in, bro. MT wants
Yeah,
him.
and Taysom Hill's been their best quarterback. So like, what does
He
that
really
tell you?
has.
No one wants Derek Carr. The players want Jameis, and Taysom Hill's been their best QB. So who knows what's going on in that locker
We'll
room?
see with
That'll
that
be a
South.
that'll should be a fun offseason for the Saints.
We'll see about that. Man, next one up. Hot or not, the Dolphins will clinch the #1 seed in the AFC.
That's along the lines of the same one I asked you. I'm gonna say that's not a hot take. The way things, I believe they're number one in the AFC right now. I think they
Yep.
have a 32% chance to clinch the 1 seed, and I think the Ravens are right behind them with 30. I believe I saw a graphic somewhere. I can't remember, but I mean that's not a hot take. I'm not sure of their remaining schedule. Actually, I think I do know most of the remaining games. I know they have the Jets twice. They have the Cowboys at home. They play the Titans this week, and there might be one more I'm missing. Regardless, I don't think it's anything too crazy. The only thing I will say is I believe the Chiefs have one of the weakest remaining schedules. And to me, that'd be, the main, competitor for that 1 seed. I know the Ravens are really good, and the Ravens definitely deserve the respect and should be, up there in contention. But bro, I just can't trust AFC North football, bro. Like I know they as long as they have division games left, like like I'm not gonna say it's a coin flip, but it's not gonna just be the Ravens should win this. Like regardless if it's the Browns, the Bengals with Jake Browning now, we
Bro.
just saw him on Monday Night Ball out. The Steelers, even though Kenny Pickett's out, like who knows what could happen in that defense. Like weird things just happen in the AFC North. So I would be lower on the Ravens. Not saying they aren't a good team and can't make a playoff run. I'm just saying the one seed in general. So I think it's right now between the Dolphins and the Chiefs, and you know the way this Miami offense is playing, defense has gotten better. Your boy Van Ginkel stepped up big time. With Jalen Phillips out, you saw the PFF post I sent you. Duke Riley balling in the middle of the field. Ramsey, Javon Holland, those and Xavier Howard. Those guys are some of the best secondary players in the league. They're always going to be reliable. So I think everything is coming around nicely for the Dolphins. And I believe Austin Jackson had a pretty solid game as well. He's, that O line is starting to get shored up. And Mike McDaniel is going to continue to be, the forefront, one of the most forward thinking minds in football. So I feel like they definitely have some stuff schemed up that we haven't even seen yet, that they're trying to save for the playoffs. So I think Miami, if they get the one seed, and, what were the two biggest questions for the Miami Dolphins coming into the season? One, could Tua
To
stay
his health.
healthy? We're in December. Tua is still healthy. So that's really, looking like it's not going to be an issue. And two is, when it gets cold, how that Dolphins team is going to play. Well, if they get the one seed, it's not going to matter. All the games are going to be in Miami. We're here in South Florida. The coldest it's going to get, especially if they're playing, the 1 o'clock games and 4 o'clock games. It's going to be like 80, 70 degrees, 60 if it's a cold front. So you don't really have to worry about, the weather being a factor. So things could line up very nicely for the Dolphins if they do happen to get that one seed. I'm not saying they're gonna go all the way, but if Miami is able to clinch that one seed, which I think they do, and I forgot to mention the Jags, although they lost, this past Monday, they only have 4 losses. They're still in contention. I believe
Hmm.
also have, not the hardest schedule coming up, but in terms of the one seed, I like Miami, man, and like I said, the weather is not going to be a question if they get that one seed. And to his injury, he's been, upright so far this season, getting the ball out super quick. So things could definitely align for the Miami Dolphins if they do clinch that one seed. So no, that's not a hot take. At this point, I like Miami to get it. They've been rolling.
Titans, Jets, Cowboys, Ravens, Bills.
Okay, Ravens, and then one more against Bills. Yeah.
Yep. Remaining schedule for the
So I
Cleveland
mean,
Browns. I
it's
mean Miami
it's not
Dolphins.
impossible, but it's not the easiest remaining
Oh
schedule.
yeah.
That Ravens and then the Bills
Bills
game, I
is
guess
week
was you would
18.
say. Yeah. And I mean, at that point, they might not even,
They might
depending
just be
on how the Bills look
spoiling.
and how Miami looks, they might not even be playing for anything. So they could
Yeah.
have it clinched up already.
We'll see, man. That's gonna wrap up my hot or not in the segment for this week, man. Jumping in week 14. Pick'ems, man. And I didn't think we could have a worse Thursday night game than the
Bro, it
one
just gets
we
worse and worse every week, dog.
I mean, this one, Patriots, Steelers, and maybe you thought the new look Steelers would have something to do with this, man. I'll let you pick first this week, man.
I was listening to, I believe it was the Bill Simmons podcast, and they were talking about this game. Bill Simmons, he's from Boston, whatever. He's a Boston guy, Patriots fans, and they were talking about the promo for this game. And apparently, the two people on the promo for this game was TJ Watt and Bill Belichick. No
Was
Patriot players get respect. I mean, not much else to say there for New England. That one stat's crazy that's been going around social media. 3 straight games allowing 10 or less points to their opponents, and they lost all 3 of them. I believe they that's like the first time it's been done since like the Bears in the 60s or 70s or something like that. Regardless, I mean, all these stats we're saying right now about the Patriots are not good. Steelers, on the other hand, when things started looking right, Kenny Pickett goes down with the ankle injury, not looking good for him. You got Mitch Trubisky. Now, how big is that gap? I mean, that's a conversation for, whoever wants to have that. I don't think it's too big. I like Kenny Pickett more, but yeah, this is going to be a very tough game. But I'm going to pick the Steelers just because I feel like they have very little bit more than what the Patriots have without, Kenny Pickett playing. Now, if Pickett was playing, I think this would be a no-brainer. But yeah, I don't know what the over/under is on this game. I mean, if you could push Evans down to like 19, and I still might take the underdog. Like, it's gonna be an ugly game. It's not gonna be fun. A lot of defense. Both of these defenses are, pretty solid. So I think I like the Steelers though. But maybe if you could find a defensive touchdown first, like score prop or whatever, that like this game would be the game to take it. Like I
It's
don't
either
know,
gonna
but
be
yeah,
that
I like the Steelers.
or a 50+ yard touchdown. It's not gonna be,
Not from the
drive down the
Patriots.
field. I mean, it
Maybe
just
Mitch throwing it, I
yeah,
guess.
just throw it up to GP or Deontay, man, and just
Yeah, or you want Bailey Zappi to throw it up to Devontae Parker? Like,
hey,
come
put
on,
some
dog.
respect on Devontae's name, man. That's a
That was
Dolphin
one
legend.
season 6 years ago.
And
Not
he
the
was
same
snapping,
player.
man, until Tannehill left. Um, yeah, this one I'll have that conversation. Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett are the same players, so
No, I
there's
wouldn't
really
say the
no.
same,
No,
but
they're the same
it's
player.
close. No, 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 no. I don't think
Uh,
they're the same player.
I'll have that conversation. They're in the same boat. But once again, the Patriots, man, it's just that stat of they're holding opponents to less than 10 points and they can't find a way to win a football game. I mean, that's just straight up embarrassing at that point. Give me the Steelers at home. TJ Watt, he makes a play.
Yeah, and I mean,
Steelers win.
especially how last week went with the Cardinals getting a win. Like the Patriots, like definitely don't want to lose at this point. Like, I mean, all you need is the Panthers to find a way to win a game, and you're in contention for the number one pick. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I mean, this year there's quarterback talent. Like, if you need a quarterback, like this is the draft that you want to be, picking early. So right now the Patriots are at number two, but they could easily find a way to slide into that number one if they keep losing. Like, so I mean, if I'm the Patriots, I'm not trying to win a game. Like, I want to get that, number one, number two, that top pick, especially in this year's draft.
Let's take a look, man. I'm trying to see that over. Steelers are -6. I don't even know if there's going to be 6 points put up by them. 29
Yeah, I
and a
feel like,
half.
yeah, I don't know how
I'm
29 points to score it
I might drop in a little alternate line and make it
total.
19 and a half.
Yo, 29 and a half is like has to be like one of the lowest over unders like of all time.
I mean,
Like in terms of like games not affected by weather, like 29 and a half. Like that's insane.
I mean, it was
Yeah, I
like
do think 6 points is wild.
the the one game Mac Jones threw 3 passes in that one winter storm where the Patriots.
Yeah, that Buffalo game.
Yeah, bro. It's like,
Yeah, but that had weather. Like I don't think
oh
this
yeah,
like
I'm
this.
saying
I don't
like,
think this is. Yeah,
but every Patriots game in the past 5 weeks is one of those games. It feels like. I mean,
yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson, I think he's out. So the Patriots' best weapon right there is just,
It's gonna be a lot of Zeke. Say that right now.
well, he better turn that clock back to OSU. So
Yeah, not even Dallas. You got to go back to
nah,
OSU.
yeah, because it's gonna be cold. Pittsburgh, it's late. I mean, early December. He got to go
2016
back.
Zeke was peak, dog.
I mean, dude, he had everyone eating the cereal, man. Um, Next game up, man, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons, man. Go ahead.
Um, I mean, I feel like I just repeat myself every single week, and I'll continue to say it every single week till the Falcons don't have a game. But they're my least favorite team. I don't think I'll ever pick them again this season. It could be out of spite. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, I like the Bucks. Mike Evans, 10 straight seasons with 1K passing yards. They got all the buzz right now. I mean, the Falcons versus the Jets game. I mean, that safety they took, Bijan. I mean, it's just bad right now in Atlanta, and somehow they like still have a shot to win that division. Give me the Bucks. Mike Evans, on my fantasy teams this year has been doing too well. He's been the one bright spot. I've been, picked him up middle of late rounds, and I've been rocking with Mike Evans and the Bucks. So I like the Bucks here.
Man, Mike Evans always been my guy. So I'm always
You've
rocking
been a
with
Mike
Big
Evans
Mike,
guy.
man.
Okay.
Yeah, Big Mike, 1K. Um, definitely getting the love he deserves now. 10 straight seasons. Happy for him. Doesn't matter what quarterback's out there. He's been consistent. He's been that guy, ultimate competitor. And I'm right with you, man. The Falcons, they're just not fun to watch. Like at least the Bucks are frisky but fun. The Falcons, they're frisky and boring. Like one of the hardest teams to watch in football, and they only beat the Jets because they thought Tim Boyle was a better option than Zach Wilson. I
Yeah, now
still
Tim Boyle's unemployed.
still don't know how he's even getting chances. It's amazing to me, man, what I guess who you know or yeah, who you know, because it was Nate
And then you
Hackett.
got
So
Desmond Ritter on the other side isn't much better, but
hey man.
that's
That's the
your guy though,
Falcons
right?
front office. Give me the Bucks, man. That's all I gotta say. Next game up, man. NFC North Lions travel to Chicago to play the Bears. Who you got?
Um, I like the Bears in a upset game. Now, when they played a couple weeks ago, the Bears are up. The Lions, made that miraculous comeback, scored all those points in the fourth quarter. And these past couple weeks, the Lions defense is just they're like a worse version of the Eagles, and we'll get to the Eagles for sure. But on Thanksgiving against the Packers, first play Love hits, Watson on that deep post, and that offense is just rolling. And then last week against the Saints, they had like 21 points in the first quarter. Saints find some life. That defense, isn't really able to stop it. The Saints are able to put some points up and make it a competitive game. They still found a way to win because their offense, got them off to that 21-point lead to start the game. But against the Bears, a divisional opponent, Bears coming off of a bye, they've had time to game plan. And honestly, this is make or break for Justin Fields. I think in Chicago, they're going to use these last couple weeks, evaluate Justin Fields, and really see which way they want to go with the franchise. Because right now, it's not a guarantee, it's not a lock, but they're pretty much going to have they're probably going to have that number one pick. And if they do, would you be surprised if you see him go with a quarterback like Caleb Williams? Drake May's getting a lot of hype right now. Maybe he's in contention, but it's looking like Caleb right now. And I wouldn't, but these next couple weeks, Justin Fields is able to put out some, amazing performances. He looks really, really sharp. Now you get to talking about, do the Bears want to trade back a couple spots? QB needy team want to move up. They continue to collect assets. So I think this is really a fork in the road moment here for Justin Fields, and he's got to be playing. He's got to be playing like rent is due because his career could definitely be on the line here if it goes really south. He turns the ball over and it just doesn't look good. You got those, young guys, Caleb Williams, those rookie prospects looming on the horizon. So if Justin Fields wants to continue to play in Chicago, hey, maybe, he's just over Chicago, doesn't want to be there and, tanks his own performance and hopefully gets a shot somewhere else, maybe. But if I'm Justin Fields, you got to go out there, give it your all. And if you start with a divisional win against a really good team like the Lions, I mean, you're heading in the right direction. So I'm gonna pick the Bears here, but the Lions, they're favored. I could easily see Detroit, offense just being too much to handle. But I like Justin Field in this offense. DJ Moore has been a really, really, solid addition this offseason. He's been playing well. So I think the Bears, they get some offense going and defense does just enough and they squeak by with a win here.
I definitely agree with you, Justin Fields. He's playing for his next, see if he is the future of the Chicago Bears team. Rent is gonna be due for him. Good thing, for all them bi-weeklies. You got 3 paychecks in the month of December coming up. So maybe he could pay rent this month. But I mean, you hit it on the nail. That Lions defense really suspect, one of the worst in the NFL right now. Um, I just think you're playing the Bears. Justin Fields head scratcher right now this year. I mean, they won a game without scoring a touchdown. The last game they played against the Vikings on,
Mm-hmm.
primetime football. It really is. I could see it going, either way, but I called the Lions true competitors in the NFC. So to say they lose to Bears right now, I'd just be contradicting myself. But give me the Lions, and I've been ice cold, man, on my bets on fantasy right now. And I'm starting Justin Fields in fantasy. Last time he played the Bears, last time he played the Lions, he put up a nice little game. T Law goes down with an ankle injury. I'm putting Justin Fields, into the lineup. Maybe Jordan Love. We'll see what I could do. But we'll see, man. I've been cold. I've been cold, so not looking good for Bears fans. Next game up, Colts Bengals, man, in Cincinnati. Who you got?
I'm gonna pick the Colts here, man. I really like, Jake Browning, big performance. I think, he only had a handful of incompletions, over 300 yards. He was out there dealing, only one touchdown, but I mean, he was out there playing like a veteran quarterback, very calm. That's the big thing. He was in the pocket, calm, in control, moving that offense. And, when you got playmakers on the outside, like a T. Higgins, like a Jamar Chase, you just want to do what you can and just get the ball to those guys and let them do the rest. The big bomb to Jamar Chase down the sideline, hit a couple nice in breaking routes. Jake Browning, you know, talk about playing like rinse do or whatever. He might have made himself some money on that game. So I really like what the Bengals have there, but I just think what the Colts have been able to do this season without Anthony Richardson, 7 wins, Gardner Minshew coming in, and we've had talks saying he's the best backup quarterback in the league or whatever. Watching him play with the Eagles last year, I knew he was a capable quarterback, and he's over there with Shane Steichen again, same system. So I mean, it's not like Gardner's coming in and doesn't really know what's going on. He knew from day one. He knew that system like the back of his hand. He was in it the entire year last year. So pretty much, just a seamless transition for Gardner Minshew, and it's got some solid playmakers. Josh Down, explosive young rookie, Michael Pittman, like Walmart, Mike Evans at this point, like go up there, big target, goes up, gets the ball. Only questions I have for the Colts are defensively, but against this Bengals team, I think Gardner Minshew, they just always seem to find a way, no matter what. It's like the games aren't exciting. It's not like anything crazy goes on, but Gardner Minshew makes the right plays. The run game solid. O line is decent, and they got some weapons on the outside. So offensively, I like what the Colts have going on there. So I'm gonna pick Indianapolis Colts against the Bengals this week.
I'm right with you, man. The Bengals, they played an unbelievable game last night against the Jags. That thing, on paper, you probably thought, not such a good, but it was really a Monday night classic. And both teams going back and forth. I make fun of Joe Mixon every week. He looked good, punching in the end zone a few times. T
Yep.
Law was making plays, but inevitably injury come up short. At least get my man a little golf cart or something, all the memes with T Law.
Had him
Like,
walking off.
you're an NFL team, at least get him a big dude to carry him off the field or something. He couldn't even get that franchise quarterback, man. That just shows you Jacksonville's franchise at a glimpse. But I mean, shout out Jake Browning. No one probably thought he could ball out like that. He was hitting some big plays. Even, there was a third down, Jamar Chase dropped. Fourth down, they went for it in the red zone, and Jamar Chase made a play on the next ball. Your receiver dropped the last pass. He goes out, trust him. He has no reason to trust him. I know he's the best receiver on the team, but regardless, at the end of the day, he was out there balling. But you mentioned the Colts. You hit it spot on, without AR, Gardner Minshew stepping into that role, making big plays, done everything they asked. JT goes down last week. He's out back, a few weeks. Michael Pittman getting involved last week. Josh Downs, you mentioned, they still got Alec Pierce making some big plays. And that defense is, making plays at the right time when they need to stop. It seems like they've been getting it. 7-win team in the AFC South. They got a chance to make that wild card or division, shake it up a little bit, but they're still out there fighting. Really didn't think they would, man. Give me the Colts on the road against the Bengals. Next game up, man, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars in Cleveland against the Browns, man. Who you got in this one?
I got the Jags, man. Now I know the big Trevor Lawrence injury. came back, not as bad as we hoped, or bad as we thought. I don't know, not hope, or bad as we
Yeah.
thought. Ankle sprain, so at this point, pretty much a pain tolerance thing. Hopefully, we can see him back out there. Regardless, we was who? CJ Beathard, who was out there for the Jags, backup Trevor Lawrence, who looked pretty solid in his replacement. He looked good enough. Although they lost Christian Kirk to the abdominal injury, that's gonna be tough. But I still like some of their playmakers out there. Evan Ingram, he's turned his career around down there in Jacksonville. Calvin Ridley, he's been explosive when he's able to, catch the ball and get the ball. ETN's been solid. And they got Zay Jones, who is, a good number two, number three. So I still like what the Jacks have, and I think it more just comes down to what are the Browns doing, Joe Flacco, he'll probably be back there again. Looked all right last week against the Rams, made a couple of throws, but defensively, you're talking about fantasy. I had Puka Nacua on the bench, going against the Browns defense. Didn't like that matchup. Well, here I am sitting there without, 25 points on my team. So that's, not really much you can say about that. Just a slant to the house, one of those plays where he just got the best of the corner. But regardless, I think it'll be a tough game. I think it'll be a competitive game. Maybe, hopefully, Trevor Lawrence plays. I like this pick even better if he does. If not, then I think it's kind of a coin flip, a toss up, and it can go either way. But, you know, I was on your side last week. I picked the Browns. They lost. So now I'm just going to go against you, pick the Jags, who I think are overall a better team right now.
I'm not mad at it, man. The Browns, they're on their fourth quarterback this year alone. So back up for the Jags. They're still ahead of the Browns, I guess. So DTR still in concussion protocol. Joe Flacco probably will start again. Thing is, the ball was, looking good out of his hands. Some of the timing and just the feel for the game was lacking there, but the arm talent still looks like Joe Flacco arm talent it did 8 years ago. So that really hasn't changed much. The ball was just easily it was just gliding out of his hands, but made a bad decision airing that ball out, arm punt right after the Browns get a stop, kind of ruin the momentum. Browns defense did struggle. Denzel Ward not out there, and it really hurt the Browns. Greg Newsome moving to the outside, or Mike Ford now, playing every down. It didn't look good for the Browns defense. Myles Garrett, you could tell he said the injury had no effect on him, but it was bad out there for MG. He was getting nothing done. And none of the other guys stepped up. Darius, the D tackles that have been balling. A-Walk had a horrible game. So all around on that defense did not look good. Expect better from them this week, especially with the Jags. No T-Law probably. Yeah, Amari Cooper down with a injury, head injury. We'll see, if he's good to go this week. But give me the Browns, man, at home. Must-win game for them after dropping two in a row. They need to get right here, and hopefully the defense steps up, makes some big plays like they did early on in the year, help out Flacco a little bit. Maybe Flacco doesn't throw the ball 40 times this game. So,
Yeah.
give me the Browns, bro. I know his arm's got to be hurting, bro. Like it just has to. Um, Next game up, Panthers travel to New Orleans, play the Saints NFC South matchup. Who you got?
Yeah, this is one of those games where there's not really much to say. We kind of touched on the Saints already, their quarterback here, so we don't know who's really going to be playing there. Defensively, is their defense should be their strong suit. Been a little shaky the past couple weeks, but I think Olave went out with the injury that this past game as well, so down a weapon or whatever. But they're playing the Panthers. Bryce Young, this Panthers team just the epitome of just like dumpster fire. There's just like anything that can go wrong will and has gone wrong for the Panthers right now. So first team to officially be eliminated from playoff contention. I don't see that changing. Now, if this Panthers team were to get another win this season, I think this Saints team would be a great candidate for that to happen. But I'm gonna pick the Saints here in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it right on the spot, man. I think you picked the Panthers in a few of the games and it hasn't panned out. Um,
Although
give
I
me this.
did pick them in their one win. I
You
will
did,
say
you
that.
did,
I
you
got
did. That
their
was
win
against the
right.
Texans.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
did. You were. I'll give you that one, man. That's why you got the 6 games ahead of me instead of 5. But um, I mean, just give me the Saints. Yeah, I'm right with you. Not much to say here. Uh, next game up, the Texans travel to New York, MetLife, and played the Jets. Who you got in that one?
Yeah, not much to say for that last game. Well, I'm gonna say even less for this matchup. Zach Wilson or Trevor Simeon versus CJ Stroud. Come on, bro. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, I will comment on the Zach Wilson. He doesn't really want to play for
You
the
don't even
Jets
want to
now.
play. Can you blame him?
Nah, I mean, come on, man. It's your boss texts you not to come into work one day, and then a week later he's crying saying, "Hey man, can you come in?" There's been a bunch of memes on it. I think it's funny. The Jets are
Yeah,
in
and like
shambles.
Zach Wilson, like he's not even good. Like, man, if I'm not good at something, I obviously wouldn't want to do it either. So I get it.
Nah, I mean, I would kind of want to prove myself, but I don't
You're
know what
not
he
good
could
at it.
do.
How you gonna prove yourself in something you just aren't good at?
I mean,
Like, bro, that's like, man, you gonna go out
if
there
he
and
doesn't
prove
believe in
yourself?
himself, bro, he'll never be good. So he's got to at least believe in himself.
I'm just saying, like, maybe down the line, but not yet. Like, Zach Wilson isn't good enough to be like a competent NFL starter yet. Like, man, why do you think he was like so down with like having a year to sit behind Rodgers, learn, get better to where maybe, down the road he'll be able to improve himself. But it's just been tough for Zach Wilson so far. And I just don't think he need to be out there playing at this point, bro.
Yeah, I'll take the Texans as well. So next one up, man. The Rams travel to Baltimore and play the Ravens. Who you got?
This should be I think this has the, potential to be a lot more competitive than, just looking at this matchup on paper. Recently, the Rams have been playing some solid football. They just beat your Browns, so you kind of saw, especially that offense, if they can get Puka and Cup going, those two are super, super dangerous. And then, to me, the biggest thing is Kyron Williams coming off of IR, man. He's been super, super explosive these last 2 weeks. I'm not going to say he's been the focal point, but he's been a very important part of that offense. When they're able to get that run game going and pull those linebackers up, Stafford has that arm to, hit all those shots over the middle, right over the linebackers, pretty much, any throw on the field off of that play action. So, defense has been solid, nothing crazy, but I think they've been like a middle of the pack defense. But I do like the Ravens here, especially at home. The Ravens have been, just a different beast at home. Ask the Lions, pretty much embarrass them at Baltimore. So I believe they're coming off of a bye as well. So give Lamar some time to be healthy. He's usually banged up this time of year, but Lamar's healthy. Those weapons, Zay Flowers has been super, super productive. Those guys are playmakers. They've been explosive. One of the top defenses in the league. We were talking about them earlier in contention for that number one seed. So I think this could be a good game. I think the Rams can keep it competitive for the first couple quarters, but I just think, you know, in total, the entire game, I think the Ravens will just be too much to handle on both sides of the ball. I think they pull off a win here at home.
Yeah, once again, I think you hit it, spot on the money. Kyron Williams, I mean, what an addition he's been to this Rams offense. The Ravens, we talked about them, you know, are they true competitors? Healthy team coming off a bye. The Rams, were able to squeak one out against the Browns that came down, last few minutes of the fourth quarter. Um, give me the Ravens at home. It's post bye week. You're fighting for that number one seed. It should be one you're able to take care of, especially at home, in front of that Baltimore crowd. They got a week to get rejuvenated, game plan, all that. So the Ravens should win this one, but it should be a good game. And I see the, close game and then the Ravens kind of close away. Although they haven't been able to do that this year, maybe this is the game that they finally are able to close the game and stop a comeback or hold them off. Next one up, man, Minnesota Vikings in Vegas against the Raiders. Who you got?
Give me the Vikings here. The Raiders have been, ever since they got rid of their head coach, they've been a fun, competitive team. I like their weapons. They got the staples, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams. They've been having a solid season. Aiden O'Connell's been a good enough starting quarterback for them, coming in for Jimmy G. He's been better than Jimmy G. So I think that's good. But I just think the Vikings with Jefferson coming back just adds just another element to this offense, and I think it'll be a big, big boost to a perimeter that's already been playing pretty solid this year in his absence. Jordan Addison stepping up. He's been a really, really nice rookie receiver this year. TJ Hawkinson, one of the best tight ends in the league. So nice to see those guys step up, make big plays. Now you add back a healthy Justin Jefferson, who could have came back a couple weeks, maybe coming off the bye, another week to get fully healthy. Should see him back at full speed. And if you have Justin Jefferson on your offense at full speed, he's dangerous. Could go for a big play at any moment. Best receiver in the league. He's up there. So I think that offense just becomes a little too much to handle for this Las Vegas defense. And now Josh Dobbs has another weapon on top of how, he's looked solid every game besides his past game against the Bears before the bye. Now you give him bye week, have him, get some reps in with Justin Jefferson, get that connection going. I mean, it should go nowhere but up. So I like the Vikings.
I mean, once again, we're on the same page. Josh Jacobs, that Raiders team, they look solid since the McDaniels fire. But now is usually, few games pass, bye week. That's kind of when that dies down, that, that mojo of where, hey, we got a new head coach. Now it comes the true gameplay a little bit more. And the Vikings, you mentioned the weapons, J Jets, Madison's looked a little bit better past few weeks in that run game as well. Obviously, the last one against the Bears was an absolute struggle for the Vikings. Don't expect that, man. Josh Dobbs, I've kind of been a believer, so-called believer in him, but, he was a third-string quarterback, backup, whatnot, and he's done a tremendous job. He gets Justin Jefferson best receiver in football, if not top 5, top 3, wherever you put him. He's up there with the elites and the greats in the game. So you add him, that opens up so many holes for this offense. And, just get him the ball a couple times, get him involved. And the Vikings should win this one against the Raiders on the road, but both playing a dome. So, climate, no different. It's going to lead us to the NFC West. Seahawks travel to San Fran and play the Niners. Who you got?
I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers now. Seahawks can play, how they did this past week against Dallas on Thursday night. And I think it can be a very competitive game, divisional matchup. It should be a lot better game than what we saw on Thanksgiving when the 49ers kind of just routed the Seahawks. Pretty much what they've been doing to every team as of late. I think the Seahawks have a chance to make it competitive, but 49ers fully healthy and looking tough to stop, man. I'm going to take the 49ers.
Yeah, I've liked the way the Seahawks have been playing these past few weeks. That Dallas game, extremely close. DK Metcalf, being the guy that they kind of drafted him to be. And I mean, he took off 3 touchdowns. Insane, 100 plus. I forget the yardage he had exactly, but the Niners, they're hot, man. Deebo Samuel, 3 touchdowns last week. CMC, Purdy hit all of his passes, when Deebo throws on those black forces, it was a scary sight. And them Niners, they're clicking at the right time. Defense stepping up as well. So give me the Niners, man. At home, they should handle business. It's going to lead us to AFC Championship rematch, man. The Buffalo Bills in Arrowhead against the Chiefs. Who you got?
The infamous 13 seconds. Um, I think the Bills have a chance to make this interesting, especially with the Chiefs coming off the loss and the Bills coming off of a bye week. Two teams who, the Chiefs seem to be slipping a little bit, where after what happened last week, with the Chiefs losing, the Bills could be a little optimistic. Steelers took a loss, Browns lost. I mean, in terms of trying to get into that playoff hunt, the Bills kind of, not saying they do totally, but they have the shot to control their own destiny. If they win out, they win these next couple games. They got a good shot to sneak into that wild card after that game against Philadelphia. It looked pretty bleak, but I like the Chiefs here at home. I mean, it's gonna be hard to go against Mahomes, and I know they lost on Monday or Sunday night, excuse me, against the Green Bay Packers, who I think at this point are just playing really, really good football. But Patrick Mahomes, you saw there at the end once again, gave his receivers a chance, put the ball where it needed to be, had a shot. Now you want to say, was it PI? Was it not? At that point, Patrick Mahomes did what he had to do. The rest just isn't in his hands. So, I mean, Mahomes is still playing, the best he can. And at home, I think this game has a different feel to it. I think the Chiefs kind of sense that, like, our season is not slipping away, but if we lose this Bills game, like, there's serious talks in terms of, can we actually go all the way? And when you have somebody like Patrick Mahomes, I think the only thing you should be thinking is Super Bowls, one seeds, and winning. So I think the Chiefs kind of sense that it's not do or die. It's not a make or break game for the Chiefs, but I think if the Chiefs get a good win here on prime time, 4 o'clock window, it'll be a statement game. And I think the Chiefs at home can find success against this Bill team where, you know, outside of Josh Allen, outside of Stephon Diggs, what do they really have to offer? Defense, we've talked about it. They've been banged up. They not the best. Weapons outside of Diggs. Kincaid's been solid. He's a rookie tight end though. See Gabe Davis. Did he have his big game a couple weeks ago against the Eagles? Not on the same page. It's a lot of question marks, a lot of rotating pieces outside of the two main guys, and I think you're gonna need more than that to beat Patrick Mahomes, who's the best QB right now. So the Bills have had former success during the regular season against the Chiefs. That is, I will give them that. But I just think Patrick Mahomes, he'll find a way again.
I agree with you, man. I mean, the Bills defensively, the injuries they've derailed their season. Matt Milano, Trey White, those guys going down, big pieces on the defensive side. I think Greg Rousseau's been banged up, Von Miller, off the field issues. It right now it's not the Bills' year. Gabe Davis calling it, big game from him last time. Played the Chiefs, man. He had the little, what was it, 4 touchdown, five, whatever it
That was in the
was, man.
playoffs, right?
Yeah, the AFC
Yeah,
Championship.
for the game they
Uh
lost.
Game they lost, man. Yeah. I mean, hey, it wasn't his fault, bro. I'll tell you what, it's Pat Mahomes' greatness and lackluster defensive, play call. And I mean, the Chiefs got the best of them. And you mentioned it. Was it PI? Was it not? It's about time one of these calls didn't go the Chiefs' way. I mean, I feel bad for Mahomes, but can you feel bad for, Patrick Mahomes, who's gotten these calls, gotten, the good side of stuff. And it really going to come down to, can these receivers make a play when it gets to the postseason? We're going to need to see that from them. Maybe this is the week we see them step up. Admiral opponent in the Buffalo Bills. I know they're not the same, but they can certainly play. So we'll see that from, the Bills and Chiefs, but the Chiefs at home, Arrowhead, it's going to be rocking. This is a game they have to, kind of set the tone and get things right. So give me the Chiefs at home. It's going to lead us to the AFC West matchup. Broncos, Chargers in LA at SoFi. Who you got?
I'm gonna take Denver here. Now I know last week it was against the Texans. It was tough. I think Russ had two, three interceptions. Yeah, so that turnover margin is kind of back down to earth where Russ was playing super, super good football, protecting it. Kind of saw, turnovers are just kind of a not a luck thing, but they're more volatile than how this Broncos team has been playing. And listen, the Texans are a really good team. We talked about them. Well, not this week. We didn't talk about them, but we've talked about how good that Texas team can be on the road. It was a tough matchup, but the Broncos, I think, despite Russ's 3 turnovers, they still had a shot. They were still competitive. That defense has gotten a lot better ever since that Miami 70-point bomb kind of turned things around. So I think this can be a good game, divisional matchup, like we talked about. Chargers, I mean, it's tough, man. Quentin Johnson, I'm sure you've everyone's seen that little the stat or whatever. Him being the first receiver taken, and the 8 receivers after him all have 400 plus yards, and he only has like 100 or something like that. It's tough, man. It's tough. Every time I just see a receiver fail and other people do good after him, being Eagles fans, I just instantly go to Jalen Rager. So, Charger fans, I know how you guys are feeling. I feel for you. I don't know if it was this bad, but Justin Jefferson right after is pretty tough. Regardless, it's bad. It's not looking good for the Chargers. Somehow, I mean, they were playing the Patriots, didn't score a touchdown, kicked 2 field goals, found a way to win. I will say Justin Herbert's been playing solid, doing what he needs to do, giving his guys opportunities. And Khalil Mack he's looked very well also. Turning back the clock a couple of years back where, Khalil Mack was one of the dominant edge rushers in this league. Wouldn't say he's the same player now, but with Joey Bosa out, he's been stepping up, he's been producing. So I mean, outside of that, and Keenan Allen, who's been solid, he's one of those sure-handed guys who, as of late, especially that Packers game, wasn't as sure-handed. Regardless, outside of that, it's just tough for this Chargers team. Brandon Staley, I mean, it's hard for me to see a way where he's the coach for this team next year. People were saying, time to give Kellen Moore that shot at this point, see what he can do with the team. Regardless, I just think this Broncos team is definitely better coached. And then I just think they're playing better football right now. So give me the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way the Broncos have been playing. 3 turnovers last week from Russ. That last one, he evaded pressure and he kind of just chucked it up. It was third down. You could have waited one more down. But I mean, it was kind of inevitable. He had to give his, teammate a chance there at the end. And it really came down to the end. But the Texans, man, Derek Stingley, Will Anderson, them guys are making plays on the backside and the front seven as well for the Texans. So, I mean, shout out to those young guys. They made some big plays, but I mean, I'm taking, Bong Rip Sean Payne over Brandon
Okay.
Staley. So it just, I
Yeah.
mean, I could say whatever I want about the Broncos. I have like the way they've played Javonte Williams when he gets involved. I could go through it all, man, but they're playing the Los Angeles Chargers. Uh,
Yeah.
At this
Might
point
as
in
well
the
just go
season,
ahead and
man,
say the line, fam. Say the line, bro. Say the line.
Chargers find ways to lose football games. I mean, come on. Just pack them up, man. Just move on to next season. Get a new head coach. Might as well bench Justin Herbert or something. I don't know. Just
Sure.
to keep him healthy. But yeah, I mean, just give me the Broncos, man, on the road. It's too easy. You're picking the Chargers now. They put up 6 points on the Patriots and won. Next game up, we got your Philadelphia Eagles, man. Divisional matchup on the road in Dallas against the Cowboys. Who you got?
I feel like, over these past couple weeks, I've been hinting at this game. I think I've mentioned it a couple other times. After the first game, and I think we split now, especially after watching the performance against the 49ers. I feel a lot more confident in that take. And it's not what I want to be saying, but right now I think the Dallas Cowboys are, playing better, more complete football than the Philadelphia Eagles right now. And at home, they've been a juggernaut. That offense, Dak Prescott, they've been rolling, and you put them inside that Superdome. I mean, it's tough, man. Um, so I'm gonna pick the Cowboys here. Being an Eagles fan, I hate to do it. It's like the worst feeling ever. But in terms of just football and watching games and seeing how these two teams are playing right now, Dallas is getting hot. That offense is rolling, whereas the Eagles offensively, I think they're good enough. They're solid play calling at times can be spotty, but when you got guys like Jalen Hurts, like Devontae Smith, like AJ Brown, Dallas Goddard pushing to maybe come back this game, that'll be huge. Those guys can overcome play calling, especially that offensive line. They're good enough. Now, especially against the 49ers, you put up, I know what, 19, put up 20 points. Basically, they just missed the 2 point conversion. Really, all it was they kicked the field goal. The game didn't matter. They put up 20 points. So, I mean, in a game against the 49ers where you would hope your defense can give you something, 20 points should be good enough to keep it close, keep it competitive against a really, really solid defense who, you know, they had some impressive moments against, especially in garbage time when they just let you score with the ball. But the main issue for the Eagles, where I've kind of been saying it all year, and I mean since week one, since that Patriots game, which looks a lot worse now, and you see where the Patriots are with Mac Jones and how that offense is looking. They were throwing it all over the Eagles secondary. They were in that game. Ever since that week, I was like, listen, if the Eagles are going to be beat, if they're going to get got, it's going to be on that second level. It's going to be, on that third level in the secondary. And I mean, the 49ers just pretty much were like the perfect team, the perfect storm. And they pretty much just exploited that Eagles linebacking core and secondary. The first couple drives, where the San Francisco 49ers, I think they went 3 and out on both of their first drives. And the pass rush was getting home. Hassan Reddick, those guys are making plays. And that's like I've been saying all year, like a broken record. Defensively, if there's anything good going to happen, it's going to be that front seven. Jalen Carter, he's been a stud. Jordan Davis playing his butt off. Those guys up front, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, those guys are the ones that are going to have to make plays. Eagles have been banged up at the linebacker. It's tough bringing Shaquille Leonard, but I mean, at this point, he's a free agent for a reason. Not really. I think the Eagles need a lot more than that defensively in the middle of the field. And once Shanahan pretty much saw that and started taking advantage of that middle of the field and, not looking for the outside anymore, Caffrey in that run game was able to get downhill. Debo taking those screens and stuff right up the middle. The run game started to get going. Eagles have been solid against the run this season. San Fran was able to find success. I think this Cowboys team might be even better suited than the 49ers were to beat this Eagles defense the way it's set up because I think their offensive line is better. And I know Purdy had a really, really good game, did everything he needed to do. But me personally, the way Dak's been playing, I think Dak is more dynamic and, he's a veteran at this point. So he's seen a lot more. So I think he's able to make some plays Dak Purdy hasn't made yet. So listen, I want the Eagles to win. I think this could be a great game. I think the Eagles can win this, but there's a real, real shot. There's a reality where this game can get ugly fast, like it did against the 49ers for this Eagles team on prime time. It could be tough, but I'm rooting for my Birds. I'm pulling for the Birds, but I think the Cowboys win this one at home.
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it. I'm not gonna say too much. I picked them because I remember these conversations we had. You think they split Cowboys at home? Took that all on account, man. And for the Eagles to drop two in a row wouldn't be the worst thing on the planet. I mean, they're able to do so because they won that front end of the difficult part of the schedule.
They gauntlet.
So, yep, give me the Cowboys at home. I think it's gonna be a decent game, divisional matchup, but prime time too, Sunday night football, man. America's team. So next game up, man, 2 Monday nights this week. Titans Dolphins take the reign for the first. Talked about the Dolphins, Van Ginkel. He's been spot on. I mean, especially with Jalen Phillips, they finally moved him back to that pass rushing state. And he's been balling all season at that spot. So give me the Dolphins at home. They're 13-point favorites. I'll be at that game Monday Night Football. So they better show out for me. Tua Tyreek show. Get them to 2K yards. Give me the Fins at home.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on the Dolphins already. I'm, I mean, the way this offense is looking, Tua and Tyreek, they're rolling, and the biggest thing for me is, like I mentioned earlier, two biggest questions coming into this game or coming into the season: Tua's health down the stretch, and you know Will they be able to play those weathers? Will that defense be able to hold up? So far, they've answered all those questions correctly. The way Dolphins, you'd want to see them answer it. So Titans are, Derrick Henry will get his carries. Will Levis, rookie, he's still having some growing pains after that really good start he had to his career. But yeah, I think the Dolphins in prime time, it'll be explosive. Tyreek will have a big game. It'll be, a high flying offense down in Miami. So I like the Dolphins as well.
Yeah, and I called last week Derrick Henry AFC South. If he didn't go down with that injury, I think the game would have been a little different and him just running them over, but it happens. Second Monday night game, man. Green Bay Packers travel to MetLife. They played Tommy DeVito Giants, who will be starting for the Giants. Brian Dable announced, I believe, this morning. Yeah, Packers, you mentioned Jordan Love, 300 yards, I think, in at least two of the last three games. He's been balling, no Aaron Jones. He's been banged up. Whether it's Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, he's getting guys involved on the outside. The defense, you mentioned no Jair, Rashawn Gary, he's making plays, Quay Walker. I mean, the defense they've stepped up and the offense has stepped up with it. Jordan Love, now we're looking at the first five quarterbacks of the draft that just saw. I mean, you got Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Jay Love, and now Jalen Hurts. So maybe 5 hits on that 2020 quarterback class, coming out of college. So give me the Pack on the road. Aaron Jones probably, I don't know his question, but if he's active, as a huge plus to this team, receiving and running, two-headed monster in the backfield. Jordan Love, I think he continues that play, especially against this Giants team. Like, what is there? I mean, it's not too much. Give me the Pack on the road.
Yeah, I think this matchup is just two teams moving in two completely different directions. Where we touched about the Packers, all episode. This Packers team is playing their best football. Jordan Love balling out, making all the big plays in the big moments. These young guys, his weapons, they're coming along nicely. Defense stepping up. Whereas the Giants, I mean, they lost Daniel Jones, but even when he was playing, like it was tough. Defensively, there's not much there now. These past couple weeks, saw Tommy DeVito kind of get it going through the air a little bit, making a couple plays. Saquon Barkley in that run game, they've been solid, but I just think the Packers they're playing great football right now. They're too hot for these Giants, and on the road, it'll be a fun matchup. It'll be nice to see Jordan Love in prime time again. We talked about will he be able to perform against Mahomes in the big spot, and he outperformed him. So I don't think Tommy DeVito should be much more of a challenge for Jordan Love. The way he's playing, the way these guys are getting involved. You mentioned the guys on the outside, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, a couple big plays there for you. Tucker Kraft, another young tight end making plays. So I like the way this Packers team is heading. I was high on them, to begin the season. Said it'd be up and down. Said they had their growing pains early on, and now Jordan Love and this team, they're starting to get some, games under their belt. They're looking good, looking explosive. Christian Watson went down with that injury. Hopefully, it's not too serious. But regardless, I like the way this Packers team has been playing. Jordan Love's been dealing, so I'm gonna take the Pack.
I'm gonna say Romeo Dobbs has been like the red zone. He's been catching touchdowns this year for the Pack, not
Yeah,
too good on the
Jaden
yards.
Reed's been good.
Jaden Reed.
Dontavius Wicks, all these guys stepping up now.
And I told you I was cold the one week. I'm like, yeah, Romeo Dobbs is that touchdown guy. What does he have? He has like 80 yards and 0 touchdowns. I'm like, he should get like 30 yards and a touchdown and call it a day. Not that week, man. But that's gonna wrap up our week 14 pick'ems, man. Before we sign off, I just want to say Cleveland Guardians, man, #1 overall pick is coming MLB draft, man. So hopefully a little talent heading over to Cleveland, man. NBA playing in season tournaments still going.
Yeah,
We'll
real
see.
quick, real quick. Who you like? Give me who you like. No,
I don't
just
even know
who
who's
you
in
like.
it. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I know the Celtics are
The
out.
Celtics just lost. I think
I think the
the
Pelicans
Knicks
in
and the
it.
Bucks are playing right now. The Pelicans won. Lakers and Suns play tonight. Yeah, so I think those are the only teams left.
They just give me the Suns. Or
Rocking
actually,
with
give
the
me the
Lakers.
Pels. Give me
I'm
the
picking the
Pels.
Lakers, man.
Give me the Pels. I like the Pelicans, man. They've been playing some good
Although
ball. Zion's been hooping.
I like,
I like
listen, man, Halliburton he's been hooping, dog.
Halliburton.
Pacers have been scoring a bunch of points,
Uh-huh. I think they put up like
but
140, 150.
something like that, yeah. But come
Yeah.
on, man, I'm rocking with the Lakers.
All right, give me the Pelicans, man. We'll see when it comes down to it. Um, Go to Go Pod, TikTok, Go to Go YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all that, man. Like, comment, sub, share, uh, and whatnot, man. Week 14 of the NFL season coming right around the corner. Episode 68, man. And until next week, peace.